right, if you would and want to, put your binder aside, like on the floor, out of the way. They will not be in your workbook. So what I'd like you to do is experience this workshop as much like your students will, except with the idea, like Christine said, what I'm doing is what you're going to be doing. Does that make some sense?
Sure.
Okay. So what you've seen me do, you will do. Did you guys make posters of your team names last year?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so that's kind of a fun little thing. And I want to thank and recognize John. He's about to videotape me for your watching afterwards. So ambassadors, how did you use the video last year?
Oh my goodness,
Oh,
we used it over and over and over, especially since when we picked our portions, I think. We were able to sit down on our computers and go back, oh wait, I like that, and make more notes that way. And
Yes.
Well, especially because
I have no idea what was happening.
we're in May and you guys will start at the end of July and you might be like, how did she run this piece? And then you can watch how her mannerisms were in that and it helps, I thought.
Great, so let's give John some recognition. Okay, so are you ready for this? Ready?
Yes.
Woo, are you excited? Okay.
Yes.
All right, are you ready, John?
You're
Lights,
good.
Camera, you're gonna make me look good, right?
Get her best
Other
side.
side. All right, well, good morning, great morning, is it not?
Yes.
It is a great morning to learn, and we are so excited for you to join our second year's Service Excellence Workshop. And this year, it's called the Advanced Service Excellence, because we're taking Service Excellence to that next level. I came in yesterday about 3 o'clock or so, checked into the Best Western, and when I got there, on my pillow was this little guy. Isn't he adorable? Felt like I was on a cruise ship. And this handwritten note from, I think it's Larissa, that she wrote, "Thank you for choosing Best Western. Enjoy your stay."
Larissa.
Is it Larissa? Do you know who she is? Cool. To me, that was a wow. You know, when you think about traveling.
Did you steal their towel?
I did. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm staying there again tonight. Thank you for throwing me under the bus.
I like it, yes.
It's on. But I'm gonna bring it back.
You borrowed it, you didn't.
Yes, I borrowed it, that's right. It was a wow for me. I walked into the room and it was like, wow, they were like waiting for me. And this year's workshop is about being the choice. You're not in hospitality, but in a way you somewhat are, because do patients have a choice of where they get their care?
No. Well, then you can.
Yes. Could they drive?
Yes.
Absolutely.
It just depends on the emergency.
Well, yes, in some cases they may not. But whether they choose or not, you want that experience to be a wow, like I had. So today is about becoming the provider of choice and employer of choice. Do employees have a choice of where they work?
Yes.
And we want to attract good quality people that enjoy working and serving our patients. This actually, by the way, is the new vision statement. My understanding is the executive admin team put together in strategic planning an updated vision statement. So let's read this together. Becoming the provider and employer of choice in our region, providing the highest quality care and excelling as a teaching hospital in Wyoming. So what words come to mind or stand out to you in that statement?
Quality.
Yeah, quality,
Choice.
teaching hospital, choice, yeah,
Highest quality.
yeah. And is there any one department or any area within Hot Springs Health that's more responsible for achieving this than others?
No, we're
No.
all.
So whether you're in a clinical or a non-clinical position, we need you to help us achieve that. So let me introduce to you our team, AKA me, but I'm simulating. We are the Wild West Women. I'm Michelle. I'm the implementation specialist. Something a few people know about me is that I like to golf, and I've actually had 2 holes in one, and they weren't at a miniature golfing. Lacey in the back is the implementation coordinator. Few people know that she is like Dr. Doolittle. She can talk with animals. Animals come from afar to live in her world. And then Shelley. A few things about Shelley. Tell us about Shelley.
She lives on a farm, and she lives for her grandbabies.
She does. And one, I think, was an award-winning 4-H'er.
Yeah, I believe so. And she's sad to be out today, but her daughter had to have sinus surgery.
That's important. Okay. So we are your Wild West women. We want to get to know you, and we want you to get to know the folks around you. So whenever you hear me or have you read Buddy Up, that means to find somebody. Okay, now we've got an even number, which might mean that you might have to work with Lacey, Christine, and Tina if you guys want to buddy up. And what I'd like you to do, because you might not know them, introduce yourself, what department you work in, and then I'd like for you to show and tell something that's important to you. At the party this weekend, Brady was asking me about my ring. This one in particular, I obviously love the ring that Greg gave me, but this one is significant. It's a charm ring, and my childhood best friend and I were traveling together, and we each have them. And so I wear that in honor of our friendship. So I want you to show and tell. If you don't have it, pull out your phone and show a picture of it. But buddy up, introduce yourself, and then show something that's important to you. Couple minutes.
We'll just do us.
Okay.
Hi.
Show me what I feel like I've called you in the last week or so.
Yeah. I know. You did it yesterday. I was
Oh, yeah.
4:30.
It's important.
I did not know that.
I love my babies.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah. No, she lives in Lake Forest, Illinois, but it was an open adoption, so I'm
You have to be careful with questions.
keep in contact.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
He'll answer.
You can ask.
yeah, I mean, first time.
I have
2 years ago.
my husband.
And, go on something, and I said something about it. My name's Brady. When I was pregnant with you, we ate pickles. She says, oh yeah. But I think we had fried cheese factory. Yeah.
This is important to me. I got this on Mother's Day. I noticed, and it's important to me right now. I'm down at the Bronx for the last 2 years.
So how?
And I'm now pregnant.
Okay, thank you. Everybody hold up what they draw, or what they show.
Love and peace.
Yes. Hold up what you draw. Because what I'm gonna ask you to do is I'm gonna ask you to bring it up to this little pillow that I have. And I'll tell you why. Our patients trust us, not only with their belongings, but with their loved ones. And I'm gonna take great care of this. I'll be watching it, making sure it's protected, so I know some of you might feel a little bit anxious, just like our patients' family members do when they drop off their child, when they drop off their parent. So I want you to trust me as we need our patients to trust us. So come on down. And if it was on your cell phone, yes, I want your cell phones. This is also good crowd control.
You got it.
I got it.
There we go. Very good. I usually get some wedding rings or something. Okay, that's important.
Oh, I
Don't be anxious though.
Do you need your glasses?
Yes, give it to me. Uh-oh, I should've got, you can stack them on top of each other. They don't have to be honest, you can just lay them on there.
I don't wanna scratch it.
There you go, turn them over, I guess.
I just got this on Mother's Day.
Oh my goodness, wow, well, I'm gonna take great care of it. At break, you can come up for visitation hours.
I showed photos too, but.
Very good, oh my goodness, this is gonna be great. No distractions with cell phones during this class.
I need
Nice.
it so I can count time.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to watch over your belongings. I take great privilege and I will make sure that it is comfortable, safe. You will get your belongings back with some discharge paperwork, AKA your evaluation form. So when you turn in your evaluation form, you get your belongings back. All right, so can you tell we're gonna have some fun? Do we have anybody who's having a birthday today, this week? How about anniversaries? Anybody celebrating an anniversary? How about, all right, here's one. Did anyone work last night? They're coming in on their normal day off? Did anyone coming in on their day off? All right, let's give, is it Jerry?
Yep.
Let's give Jerry, I'm gonna give Jerry a little gift. Yes, I stole this from the Pollard Hotel, and I didn't think they'd care. All right, so everybody should have a workbook. All right, if you would, put your name on this. This is gonna be yours to use as we go through our workshop. It's about a 2-hour workshop. We will not take a break, so that means if you need to do your business, go out and around the corner. Put your name on it. And then also, thank you for putting the name tent together. This will help me know who you are and others. And then also what I want to draw your attention to is a number in the upper right-hand corner of my slide. If you get lost in the shuffle, that will tell you what page number we're on. So turn into your first page for a preview of what we're going to be doing with this year's workshop. We're going to basically explore 3 dimensions of the advanced service excellence. We're going to take a look at our accomplishments. We're going to take a look at the power of choice to be a good influence to our patients, to our coworkers. And then we're going to teach you a new tool called the cycle of service for use in DoITS. You've already been doing some great participation. During this workshop, we want you to search for the most usable idea. Ask yourself, how can I take this idea or concept and use it in my job? This is a safe place to learn. There's no wrong answers. I think the best answers are those that are coming from your heart. Participate like you are. Ask questions. There's no stupid questions. The only stupid question is the question you have and you didn't ask at the moment you could have found out. So please ask all and any question. Keep an open mind to do new things, better ways. Share your own experience as you have already. Take notes. I'm saying that not only for you as a student, but again, take even more notes. How many of you are a pretty good note taker? Okay, I want you to take it up a notch. Take even better notes. So again, remember what I'm saying, what we're taking. You've done a great job of putting away your cell phones. Thank you very much for that. Be accountable to take these ideas and use them immediately. And are we having fun yet?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So if you would, tear off the very back 2 pages of this workbook. The back 2 pages are going to be turned in. You just rip them off quickly. We'll keep your staple intact, hopefully. At the end of each workshop, someone from the admin team will be coming in. Your case will be 20. But on this page 26, we're going to ask you to share 2 things. First of all, what do you appreciate about working at Hot Springs Health? It's nice that leaders understand what matters most to you. So maybe jot something that comes to mind, top of mind. What brings you to work? What gives you, at the end of a day, pleasure to know that you've maybe made a difference in the lives of others? And then because we are a learning organization, a teaching hospital as the vision said, we want you to offer a suggestion. What could be done to improve either the caregivers, fellow coworkers, or a patient's experience from your perspective. And we're gonna ask you to turn these in at the end of the workshop. You aren't being asked to put your name down, but if you would like to, in case they have questions or follow-up, you could do so, but you don't have to put your name. On the next page, this is your discharge paperwork. On page 27, we believe feedback is the breakfast of champions, and this is the first time our team of Wild West Women have taught this class, so we'd love your feedback. So start by putting your name. Today's date is the, 15th? 14th. Oh, it's my late great Murphy's 14th birthday. It'd be his golden birthday, right?
Yeah.
Because he'd be 14 on the 14th. Oh, I gotta.
Sweet Murphy.
Sweet Murph. I gotta put a little tribute out there for him. And where it says the SEA names, you could just put the Wild West Women for that. And then we're gonna ask you to share with us during the course of our workshop what you've learned, what you would say about us and the content. We strived for 5 stars. And if you can't honor us with the 5 stars, just give us some suggestions for improvement. We'd like to understand, since this is the second year of the initiative, how well would you rate your understanding of service excellence at this point or at the end? And then if you haven't been an SEA before, number 6, you might want to circle yes, because this is a great opportunity for you to go through some training as we have over the last several months. And being an SEA really is a great career and personal developmental opportunity. So that's your discharge. All right, well, let's now go back to page 2. The first dimension is take a look at us now. And on page 2, you'll see the Service Excellence Council. This group was formed when the initiative started now, over 2 years ago, with the purpose or mission to implement, monitor, and integrate the Service Excellence Initiative into your culture. The roster of members are there. You'll see that it's a variety of leadership and frontline. They each have a very specific role, and you can see their roles described there. Do we have anybody who is on the Service Excellence Council that's here today? Lacey. So tell us, what's the council been working on recently?
I'm trying to think. So there's been a lot of talk about CareSay and where we're gonna go with that for the future.
And tell them briefly what CareSay is.
So CareSay is like you can get an app on your phone or you can watch it off your computer, but they're like little brief videos that discuss a bazillion different topics, anywhere from I think there's some about HCAP scores, and then there's just like little tidbits on how to, be a better person. Like there's lots of different things you can learn on there.
Great, thank you. And how often do you guys meet?
Monthly, but we're switching that up to meet twice a month.
Great. So if you have any comments, feedback, suggestions for the Service Excellence Initiative, feel free to reach out to any one of these members. On page 3 is a overview of what both of the OASIS and Action teams did last year. There were 2. The first team looked at onboarding and retention. Their team's name was S'mores, which, did they describe what that stood for? Anybody remember what that stood for?
I do, but I can't remember now.
Somebody put that on the admin team question. Kim, will you do that? What does S'mores stand for? We need to capture that. Their tagline was, with only choice ingredients melted together for greatness, we need s'more employees like you. Things that they did was they created a program increasing onboarding satisfaction, employee retention. They streamlined the onboarding process itself, focusing on department-specific components, and they transitioned now to a standing committee that meets monthly. So do we have anyone here who is on either the OASIS and Action team or on that committee?
I was in the beginning, S'mores.
Oh, you were? So do you know what s'mores stand for?
It wasn't standing for anything, it was just that we combined everything.
Oh.
Yeah, we needed all the people together.
That was the, okay, thank you, because we needed that definition. Awesome, thank you. The other team was the Awards and Recognition team. Their team name was Hall of Fame. They celebrated staff through activities and recognition with the annual barbecue, the annual holiday celebration. They also worked on the Years of Service Awards, celebrating 25 individuals with a total of 145 years. Were any of you recognized during that? Really, good for you. How many years?
15 years.
Awesome, let's give Tina some recognition for that dedication. She deserves one of these too, by golly. Yes. Ready?
No.
Oh, sorry.
And
Bad toss.
That's
And then
okay.
in 2024, this team will develop a recognition program with events and celebrations. So do we have anybody who was on that team?
I was as an honorary member.
That's right. So is that group still meeting then?
No,
No? All right. And then this year, we have a fabulous group of new Service Excellence Advisors. Would you agree?
Yes.
Woo-hoo. These are them. And they have gone through training to help them prepare to teach this workshop to everyone who wears a badge. So let's give them some recognition. They have been assisted or guided by their predecessors. On the next page 4, you'll see the ambassadors. Ambassadors were last year's Service Excellence Advisors who have gone on for additional training, and they have signed up to do a number of different things. So for instance, you'll see the first 3, Lenora, Kim, and Liz are assigned to coach each of the different SEA teaching teams. Others were involved with the OASIS teams, a lead team, which is a new team that we're going to be talking about, other projects. So do we have any ambassadors here today? All
I
right.
don't
So,
know who that bachelor is, but you know.
yes. Do we have a name? Did we spell the name wrong?
yeah,
It's okay.
Oh, you're right, no L.
fixed it.
So in case you need help, you bet your ass it's Becker, not Bachelor or anything else.
There you go, that's the way you remember that.
Yeah.
Great. And then tell us, ambassadors, besides teaching or coaching the SEAs, what else have you been working on? Have you guys been meeting since we had our training?
So I'm very excited that we're still doing our synergy meetings. This is one of the biggest
Yeah.
parts of why I think it's awesome to continue on this. We meet together monthly with Scott and kind of go over what's going on, what's working good, what we've been seeing that's going good, and what we need to improve on. And then I think we talked about how to do more things to get people involved, and it's kind of a good way to kind of know what's going on and again, get that boost again and brainstorm.
And we're able to give Scott feedback, so he doesn't always know that they need to communicate as an exec team to changes happening, but we all know there's changes happening and we're all like maybe worried about the changes. But he doesn't know they haven't communicated that well.
Okay.
They
So
might
you're
think
kind of
that email satisfied what's happening, but we're able to tell Scott, we're all, concerned, we're all aggravated, so is everyone else, and then Scott goes back, talks to the exec team, and then they present it a different way, so the hospital feels better, we hope.
It's a great source of feedback
Yes.
and suggestions.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other projects? I see there's other projects. Did I contribute some photos to the yearbook?
You did, yes.
Okay. So again, thanks for the ambassadors for their work. Let's give them appreciation. As we introduced the OASIS and Action teams, on the next page 5, you'll see the carryover of the awards and recognition team. Each team having a captain, an executive sponsor, even a couple of ambassadors, and then members made up of leaders. And this year, they're going to be working on an ongoing recognition program, and then they're responsible for nominating and assisting the council in Summit Award nominations for the Healthcare Service Excellence Conference that CLS, Custom Learning Systems, hosts. New this year, you might want to write down the word new, we are formulating what's called LEAD teams. LEAD stands for Leadership, Execution, Accountability, and Discipline to improve the patient experience. So as we looked at the areas of patient satisfaction or dissatisfaction, the greatest opportunities we found were in two areas. Hospital likelihood to recommend, and what's the other one?
Clinic getting timely appointments, care and information.
You got it. So those teams are actually going to be forming this week. They're going to be launching. But they have a captain. They also have an executive liaison. They also have an ambassador. And they also have leaders and perhaps some frontline members that are working to improve the scores. You can see of which questions. So the columns have the domain question. So for likeliness to recommend, there's one question, and let's read it together. Would you recommend this hospital to your friends and family? And the other one, the clinic has two questions. What are those questions? The first is?
My waiting time was acceptable for this visit.
And the other question was?
I
Was able to receive my appointment and I needed it.
All right, so we're going to be working on ways to improve the scores and satisfaction. Do we have anybody who's on those teams?
Yes.
All right, great. So we will see you on Thursday.
Yes.
All right, the next page is a new document that the Service Excellence Council created that really gives at a glance all of the different departments, who their manager, supervisor is, who their ambassador or could be both, an ambassador or an SEA, and then for accountability's sake, they've also indicated when they have their do-it meetings and when they have their huddles. The expectation of do-its is at least monthly. How many of you have your do-its as a part of your department meeting? Show of hands, okay. How many of you have huddles more frequently than weekly? How often are you having your huddles? Okay. And why do we huddle? I always like to teach the why. Let me ask first of all the huddles. Why do we huddle? Why does a football team huddle?
Go over anything that needs to be addressed.
Exactly. So it's timely, critical information. In a short period of time. How long are your huddles?
40 to 45 minutes.
Oh, that's not a huddle.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, huddles should be quick. Huddles intended to be typically 10 to 15 minutes max, with the idea of a high-level overview of what's going on. So Stephen, you might want to take to your manager a little bit about kind of the difference.
Good luck to you.
All right, so put a star next to your department, and if there is any change, or if you're seeing anything that's inaccurate, please let us know, and also assure that your manager is following through on these commitments.
Yeah, we all know about ours.
Yeah. We need to fix that.
Yeah. Well, it's out there now, so now it's out in black and white. You might want
Maybe we can take some of their 45 minutes and take our own.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe you can share
And
some of that.
again, if,
Even in addition.
for anyone who is here, if there is anything on here that is not accurate, or you're not feeling the follow-through, take it to your manager and say, I want to bring this to your attention because this is now out in public domain. This has been improved, so.
Trying.
All right. So the next tool I want to look at is, here, let me just do this question. What do you, at your table, I'd like for you to share, what do you enjoy or gain from do-it meetings, do-it projects, and huddles? So let me give you a couple minutes to discuss that at your table.
I think that it's good to get people together
it's like a good
I
word.
think it's a good
blast
way
something
to
real
share
quick
at the
to
clinics
everybody
between all 3 clinics.
See
What
if
do you have?
we do it, really all the
You wrap it
steps.
all into the meeting.
And make sure we're all on the same page and everything's getting discussed the way it needs to be
But
discussed.
that's a clinic, I think that's the biggest one.
Well, I mean,
I get
Anna's on it, Anna's on it, Shelley's on it.
Chad Niners.
We're on it.
So I get to kind of escalate things with my
Well,
exactly exactly. And that's gonna kind of get a
It's
project.
kind of like a big
Prioritized.
Yeah, the nursing department.
They get, this is a good place to write homes, I feel like.
Yeah, which one I already wrote.
What is that?
I was big too last year.
Yeah.
This year, I will.
You're up to for sure.
I was gonna say, some of that you just said though, I don't know why they're relevant to a scheduler, like one person.
So,
Because they're like.
Get a lot of bosses.
it'll be like a
Is that how
whole
you see it?
clinic situation, so I'll be like, does anybody have any, like, they'll all discuss with their department. Oh, we're proud of doing a miracle at the Fumapolis office, like, there's a sign, or, no, they chose not you to. know, we had a disgruntled
They're
parent
going
over.
bad mouthing this entire program.
Don't
I've noticed that one person is also talking to patients in a
I think they're helpful.
negative.
I heard that there might be like an issue with like checking on what was actually discussed.
Remember this investigation.
Like you can discuss it, but if it doesn't.
I'm on
Did follow through?
Yeah.
Continued follow-up is what is needed.
It's interesting that.
You keep just-
I
already get a lot of
6:45 in the morning.
all right, let's talk about the benefits. What are the benefits, first of all, to Do It meetings and Do It projects? What have they done for your area?
Streamline processes,
Good,
make it more efficient.
great. And what area couldn't benefit from working smarter, not harder? How about the huddles?
Just making sure everybody's on the same page.
What I have to say, if I may, what huddles of our type happen to us, we have learned that since we know that's coming up very soon,
What's coming up soon?
our huddle is coming up where it's always announced, we're gonna huddle in a few minutes, so that triggers in the rest of us that we have a lot of work that we're gonna miss, we don't get that time back in our lives. So we've got a lot of work that we get done in a big hurry, because we know we're gonna be in a huddle for a while. So we get all our work out of the way first, so that we don't.
That's kind of a good, I get where you're going. I get where you're going.
So give me the topics on your huddles, because I'm sensing that yours isn't necessarily done the way it's recommended. Typically, there's 3
It
topics,
starts probably like it's supposed to.
okay?
Well, at least how many patients we actually have who might be discharging, so that we know how to
Okay,
prepare, how
Yes.
much to prepare.
yes,
If we've got
And you're
special
in
catering.
food service, right?
I'm in the food service, yeah.
Okay.
If we have catering
for
this
that
day,
day,
who's in charge of it? What's supposed to, because today we have a huge catering.
Yep.
For the Chamber of Commerce
Yep.
coming in today. So that was huddled about, so. but-
period.
And then, it just, we ramble occasionally.
It should not even be a sit-down.
And it doesn't, we don't know how to sit, we're always standing.
Okay, that's good.
For 45 minutes.
I would put a clock for those, for those
And
areas that
I have to
maybe,
say, it started out, the powers that be heard our objections, and said, okay, we're gonna keep it 10-15 minutes max.
good,
And it was, and then it became, okay, we're gonna have to do 2 huddles, because we have too much to discuss about, so we'll meet back in a couple of hours for a second huddle, for another 10 minutes,
but does everyone need to be involved with that?
apparently.
Okay,
But then it just
Yeah.
evolved back into another,
What I would suggest is, I would put that on that page you're gonna turn in, and just indicate that, we need some help with some guidance on our huddles.
It's another tough director to work with.
That's fine, we're
work with.
stepping up to the plate this year.
What if you don't meet at all?
That would be another great opportunity. Just indicate that, we would suggest that our area have a huddle, and with or without our manager, whatever it is. But I think it's important for administration to know that if not everybody's playing by the same rules, they need to step up to the plate.
We're short-staffed, we don't have time to do that.
Yeah. So again, this is the year, and I think I've said this to the leadership, this is the year of accountability. The first year, it's like, let's learn what we're supposed to do. The second year is checking back to see if you are in fact doing it. If you don't know how, I'm happy to give you, the three parts to a huddle should be what's working, who do you want to recognize, what's not working well, and then something, like you were saying, Stephen, that could be focused for the day. What are our priorities? But it's simple. Good news, bad
So-
news.
We felt this was very important last year, so we actually added this to our class to make sure they knew this was mandatory. So this is where now, here's the follow-through we're gonna get done.
Yeah. And now it's in writing as to at least when everybody's saying or claiming that they are.
What's the third one?
Well, it's something about service excellence or the priority for the day. A lot of times that has the look of, how many discharges that Stephen was talking about, or what catering event, whatever it is that your area needs to know about. And again, depending on your frequency, if it's this week, if you have it weekly, or today. All right, great discussion, and I think a great opportunity to take this to the next level. All right, on the next 3 pages is the dashboard. This should look familiar to you, I hope, right? You rolled this out last year for the first time. It's called a dashboard. Before we get into this document, let's step aside and say, where have you used a dashboard? You probably used one on your drive time this morning. In your car, right? What's on our dashboard that we use? It keeps us in our speed limits.
Gas.
Fuel, oil, any of that. This is actually monitoring our journey to becoming the provider and employer of choice. So on the next 3 pages, and you might want to jot some of these down, this is really important for you guys to catch this. There's 3 pages and there's 7 sections. So I want to teach you how to read this dashboard. The sections are divided with a gray bar. So this first section is a provider of choice measure that looks at HCAHPS. Who can tell me what is HCAHPS? You don't have to tell me what it stands for, but it's a survey given to whom?
Inpatients.
Inpatients, exactly. All right, and along this journey, we strive to be a 5-star. The first column, bless you, is when we started the initiative. We looked at our benchmark data as of December 22. This is our results from our first year's experience, going from a 2 to a 3 to a star. Our goal this year is what?
4-star.
4-star, and we ultimately want to achieve and hit that 5-star status. And why? Why is 5 stars in our consumer world important? You and I have used it before.
Highest rating.
What's that highest rating? In fact, I'm looking for a 28-inch luggage. We're going to go on a Mediterranean cruise. And what I did was I just filtered out. I only want the 5-star.
The best of the best.
The best of the best. So we have become accustomed to looking for what other people have had and said. And so we want to be that high-rated. Now, for each of these domains, does anyone know from last year, what does the word domain mean? What is it?
So it's like a little box, a little section, or what does it mean? Now shut up.
I thought you had the answer. Domain, ambassadors, remember that from last year?
Yes, if I had to teach it.
Domain is another word for
Each category.
category, okay? You might want to jot that down. Each of these 10 domains have 2 or 3 questions, okay? So for instance, communication with nurses has something like, how often did the nurse communicate with respect and courtesy? And you'll notice that it is measuring frequency or consistency. How many of you have actually seen a survey? All right, we have a binder, don't we? We have a binder of surveys that we will put in your toolbox, and we'll pass that around because we'd like everybody to know what the questions of the survey is. Why? What would be the benefit of knowing what our patients are being asked?
So we can better approve.
Yeah, it's like giving you the test questions before you take the test, so you know how to behave and get good scores. So for each of these domains, you'll see in the sections a couple of pieces of information. One term is top box. Who can give me the definition of top box? And that's the best, very good. Oh, that's deserving of a, here it comes. All right. Top box is the best possible response to that particular question. So if the question starts off, how often, the responses could be never, sometimes, usually, or the top box would be always, okay? So this is telling you, of those that completed the questions, which gave you the always responses. The only exceptions is number 9 and 10. That's a 10-point scale. Anyone know what top box is for these two categories?
9 and 10.
You got it. So with the exception of these two, it's always. Now another term, again, this is survey literacy. This column is what's called percentile. Not percentage, but percentile. Who can tell me what that number represents?
How many number of people that took the survey?
No.
Is that the one?
That would be,
That would.
Oh, that's
that would be
the
52.
Oh, that's right.
That's number of
Your
responses.
mean, your
Average.
average.
No, but that's a good guess.
What percentile you are in comparison?
There you
to
go, bingo, bingo.
other Michigan?
I'm having fun with these. I gotta go out and get some more coasters. Maybe Best Western has some things I could give away. There you go. Okay, so it is the easiest way I'd say, it's a comparative number, like GT said. It's how you compare with other hospitals. So in other words, out of 100 hospitals, and I'm just doing it so it's simple, you are in the 18th percentile. Is that good or is that bad?
Not great.
Yeah. Now luckily, look at what you did from year 1 to year 2. Awesome. Improved, 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 improved. So what that says is this works. And I heard, was it Jerry, were you saying you've got some naysayers? If you have some naysayers out there, show them this stuff works. If you're wondering why we're doing this, it's for the good of the patient. We have to get on the same team. And I feel extremely passionate. I've worked with over 50 different hospitals, and I have seen how this works. Trust it. Get on the bus or get off the bus, because you guys are moving forward, and you don't want to have the people that are dragging you down. Because the sooner you can embrace this, the sooner you will achieve your 5 stars. Is that true? So turn your people to your left and right, give them a high five, and say, let's do this.
Do this.
Good luck with yours. All right. Oh yeah, so here's the top box, percentile. Okay, next section, section 2. Same page. I'm not gonna go through it as much detail, but I want you to at least know this is the second section of the dashboard that has other surveys. So you'll see ED caps, outpatient, OAS caps, ambulatory, cardiology, lab, outpatient other, outpatient surgery, all the clinics, wound care, radiology.
Was there something that starting year missing that put us at like a 1 for lab and a 2 infusion and wound care?
What's your question?
Well, it just seems like percentile wise.
In the first year.
Yeah,
Why we
was
were-
it because our I don't understand those numbers.
Write that question down, I don't know. What I don't know also, which would be another good question, is who are you compared to? In your data, I know that you switched vendors. You switched from Press Ganey to Survey Solutions. So that could be part of the reason. You went to a new database, so it's a new comparison.
Because I know when those people sit in their workshops, they're gonna be like, what? Because they're great departments, so.
Yeah. So if you want to write that on your admin.
One thing I'd like to add about the previous surveys, there are 32 questions, and if you're wondering why there's only like 1 or 2, it's most likely because people see that 32 questions, like, I don't have time to answer
Yes.
32 questions.
On which survey is 32
The-
questions?
HCAP ones.
Age caps? Okay.
And then some departments, like I know EVS, we only get one question. Dakota, do you know for maintenance if you guys get one at all?
I've never been yelled at questions.
You get
As nurses staff, we don't have questions.
You don't know, yeah, so one of our recommendations would be, to take the survey, yourself. Give it to whatever area you work in and take that survey. So let's put that as an assignment. Put a star next to the area, if not this one or this one, and actually take the survey as an assignment. And you guys can help us make that happen.
Where's the survey found?
That would be probably a question for Nina. So if you want to, why don't you write that, Randy, on your, admin? Where do we get a copy of the survey, our area survey? Okay. Any other questions or points about these? These are the two sections on provider of choice. All right, the next sections are on becoming the employer of choice. So this is where a place where people want to work. So on page 8, this measures employee engagement. And you used a survey in June of 22, then you did a pulse survey in 23. Have you recently taken the survey again?
I thought we did a couple months ago, didn't we?
It looks like you got some numbers.
We did one on our,
That was the pulse.
I know nurses did one on our manager,
I think that's what.
but not about being an employee of the hospital, about like if our manager.
Oh, it's our
Reporting
manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
The employee survey will be coming out first of
You guys-
June, I think.
So it says
Surveys on us.
2024 will be a full
Surveying
survey.
the employees, wanting to know how well
But,
we like.
oh, this is the goal, okay. So would somebody, just tell me who you are, ask when the employee engagement survey will be?
I'm pretty sure it's first of June, first
June?
part of June,
Okay, confirm, you wanna write that down for
yeah.
confirmation, okay? This one is probably the one you were talking about, that you evaluate your leader. So this fourth section asks you to evaluate your leader, whoever you report to, in 12 different areas. And you can see that we've been doing that every 6 months. Did you guys do it recently?
Yeah.
Yeah,
think it's February.
April, I think.
So it's February.
February. Oh, was it February?
Yeah, right there on the tab.
February, but it says it's gonna be done again in June.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a goal number?
That must be the goal, yes, you're right, because the past were the results, the June is the goal. Yeah. The next section is retention. Why is retention important?
So you can execute it?
Yes, yeah, so you can operate consistently as a team. And we want to make sure that we keep the good employees. You may remember last year we talked about the whiners and the slugs. There may be some turnover. You might see an increased amount of turnover, so we don't want to say we don't want anyone to leave. We only want those that are willing to comply and help us achieve our goal. On page 9, this is, I'm not sure what the difference. Anybody know the difference between the first two and the second two?
That says nursing.
NSI.
Employee retention,
And this is,
it's part of the, oh. So this part is the retention and RN staffing report. And then then it goes to the, so it's part of the retention. It's continuation.
Oh, it is. It's actually a further, thank you. Yeah, if you look at it, it's different data. Yeah, this gives you the total hired, the percent that left in the first 90 days. That Oasis and Action Team looked at specifically retention of new employees and focusing in on that first 90 days. Thank you, that's what that was. Another section looks at the service excellence goals. And this is where, again, we want to make sure everybody is aware of. The first year, because this was new, we didn't track a lot of the data. But now, the second year, we're much more detailed. So we want 100% of departments to hold service huddles, how often? At least weekly, yep. Doing projects. And again, these are very specific goals set by leaders. That we want at least one project completed a month and one reported during the MOR, monthly operating report. Have you guys heard about that?
That's what they're all doing today.
Yes, I think that's right. Attendance at training, our goal is 100%, same as last year. And then Lacey was talking about the use of CareSay. CareSay is a rounding tool. So that could be potentially used to help monitor the executive caregiver rounding as well as new patient welcome visits. And then we also like leaders to check in, not in a meeting perspective, it's just kind of rounding. When we say rounding, the easiest I can have everybody think about what rounding looks like is when you were at a restaurant. You were rounded by
Waitresses.
the waitress, you were rounded by the manager. And sometimes you may have even been rounded by whom?
The cook.
The chef, exactly.
As far as nursing goes, that is not always helpful for us. It's counted against us a lot of times, I think. Because when executives come around and look, if we're in a lull or something, especially if Greg comes, he's like, oh, why about this money sitting here not doing anything? When in reality, we just sat down for a 15-minute break. And they don't really ask us very many questions, so.
They aren't asking good questions.
I mean, they ask, do we have everything we need, but it's like if I have 6 people or if I have a mom in labor, like, I don't have time to sit there and answer your question. So if we're busy, you don't see them, or if you catch us when we're charting, they kind of see it as we're not doing anything.
Make a recommendations of what would be meaningful. What's the purpose? What's the why of the rounding? Whether you're in a restaurant or whether you're in clinical.
I find that a lot of that just doesn't happen.
Okay,
Especially with us being a distant clinic.
okay,
We really don't see management very often.
okay. So again, write that on your sheet. Again, kind of like, I think you were talking about how during that monthly synergy meeting, you are the eyes and the ears. If they aren't aware of what the problem is, they can't fix it.
We
So-
had to be honest in our synergy, and I'll hold myself solely accountable. I did not feel that presence was benefiting me in any way.
No.
It wasn't engaging, it wasn't complimentary. I'll just say what I said that day. And they will hear you. Does that make sense? 'Cause
Yeah, and something I wrote down too is no nursing has communication with admin at all. We get the back end of all the bad things that happen,
I echo that.
and we have no whys, and so, and
The
then we just,
communication is in every one of mine.
Okay,
so.
okay, great. And if you wouldn't mind, put it as a suggestion. You have great insights to what's not working. Take it one step further and say, it would be nice if X, Y, Z. That's what I find, that's what I would want as a leader, so I can't read your mind. I can't fix it if I don't understand what you would like. All right, great observations and insights, thank you. I think this is the last section, isn't it?
Yes.
The last section is about your pillar goals. Who knows what a pillar is in this reference?
We have 5 pillars.
Yes, these are your
Finance.
strategic areas, right?
Yes.
And these are all evaluating overall success. So it's kind of a combination of all of the scores.
What's an AR day?
I would say that's account receivable. Does anyone know what your pillars are called? And if not,
One of them's
let's,
finance.
quality?
So we have people, quality, finance, growth. People, quality,
That's 4.
Growth. Let me think about it.
Okay, then and if we don't, let's ask, all right, so now that you've seen the dashboard, where else have you seen it besides in this workbook before today? Is it posted anywhere? Do you talk about it anyhow?
It is on,
Okay,
SharePoint.
it's on, it's
Share.
in the cloud, okay?
Yeah.
It's, Scott has put it in the email, the finance report,
Okay,
and goes over some things.
all right. How many of you have a department board? Somewhere where things that are important for you to know,
We have 2 areas for our department, so.
It's like, we haven't since we moved with the new addition of the hospital. We used to.
Yeah.
okay? What I would suggest, I would like for you to think of this as your target. You know, if I gave you a dart, what would you do? What would you look for first?
Bullseye.
Yeah, I've gone by several shooting ranges in this area, okay? You'd look for the target, right? This is our target. We need to keep this top of mind. Out of sight, what?
Out of
Out of mind.
We talked about putting it front and center last year, but it didn't evolve.
Okay, well, let's, maybe you guys take that initiative or put it on the admin team. We need to get it out there, not on a board. It needs to be referred to. So that's dimension 1. Take a look at us now. On page 10, let's explore dimension 2, using our power of choice to be a good influence. A couple of definitions or perspectives I want you to think about. When you think about power of choice, we all have choices. You know, each day we wake up, we can have a good day, we can have a bad day. Our patients have a choice. Who controls how we set our priorities?
We do.
Yeah, you ultimately. You can be influenced, you know, by your bosses, by the patients, but you ultimately decide who and what's going to be your priority. And therefore, we can either be a whiner who blames others, creates a lot of excuses, feeling powerless. You know, those folks spend a lot of times complaining. You know, they're long on complaints, and that's why I want you to turn that mindset into being a winner. Winners take responsibilities and are accountable and can change because they feel powerful. So we're not saying to squelch complaints. You know, as you can tell, I want to know it's not working. So we can fix it. You can't fix anything that you don't know is a problem. What we imagine is what we get. Do you believe Hot Springs Health can be a 5-star provider and employer of choice? Look in the eyes of the person to your left and say, I do you?
I do.
I know, it's like, if everybody looks
I
at
do.
Great work with our organization.
Yeah, that's where y'all just want to work as one. You
All
cannot
right.
make something without working as one.
As a team, you've got it. I like Eleanor Roosevelt's quote, no one can make you feel inferior without your own consent. Things happen. You know, some things are planned, some things are not planned. Some things are good, some things are not so good. But how we react to it is really our choice. When you think about the difference between people that are winners and whiners, I use this circle of concern, circle of influence. People that are whiners have a small, they believe, they have a small circle of influence because they have a lot of concerns. Oh, the weather's terrible, I'm not gonna be able to do this.
Wouldn't it be better stated if you said circle of complaints rather than concerns? Because I feel like people that are proactive have a lot of concerns and they want to change the concerns.
I think that's a great point. I think we use the same terms, but I think from a note perspective, they live on complaints. They're long on complaints. Great point. Let me see, do I have any more of those? Okay, I owe you one. Great thought, because they spend a lot of time complaining. Whereas winners, their circle of influence is larger, dealing with the concerns in a more proactive or powerful way. There's 4 keys to personal power, and you all have them. Don't let the things you can't control interfere with the things you can. Love what you do. Have the mindset that you get to come to work, not that you have to come to work. It's a completely different mindset. Last week, whatever, May 1st or 2nd, I don't know if anybody watched any of the Elevate, the live streaming. One of the women talked about even wanting to come to work. I want to come to work. When I stepped off the plane in Cody, I was greeted by such grateful people They said, thank you for flying United. And I thought, you know what? I'm glad you recognize that we help you pay your bills. You know, those that don't get it, you have a job. You might not like your job, but your job is paying your bills. So suck it up there, Buttercup, and realize you need to be grateful for your patients. Stand for something rather than fall for something else. And finally, expect the best, support people's best self. So I'd like you to check one of those. Check one that you really want to stand behind.
What if you want to?
You could. You could check them all. I was just.
What about D,
Might-
all the above?
There you go. You could.
That too.
You could. All right. And turn to your buddy and describe which one did you choose and why.
That's mine.
Choose all.
Because I
And I love what I do.
I don't.
But then,
I just got one and I had to wish I worked at my job. So I tried to change how you show up and how you treat people.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I had to protect myself because people were physically and mentally attacking me. So I had to put those.
And as Dale Carnegie would say, if it is to be, it's up to me.
What do you do with that?
All right, now, the next page, we're gonna talk about how we communicate. And you may remember this from last year, I think, ambassadors help me out, you guys talked about how we communicate. What percent, if you remember, comes from just words?
Actions?
What percent do you think?
What was it?
I don't think our pages line up with that.
No, this is an extra piece.
Oh.
It's just, it's not in there, but if you wanna take notes, you could. This is a review from last year. 7% of what you communicate comes from just your choice of words. 38% from tone. This is not what you say, but how you sound.
72.
And 55%, over half, comes from not what you say, but from what you do. Now, using that as our premise, let's on the next page, fill out the worksheet with what is, first of all, our patient's concerns. And before I go too far, I don't have a spell check on here. Mark Twain said he admires people that can come up with more than one way to spell a word.
That's right.
And then,
All right, so tell me, what are some of the concerns our patients have?
Our patients' concerns.
Yes.
Wait time.
All right, wait time. Okay, how long is this gonna wait? How long do I have to wait? What else?
Quality of care.
Okay, wanna know about, is this gonna be a good experience?
Seeing their provider.
Okay, well, I get to see my provider.
Is the provider listening to what I'm saying?
Are they listening?
Will insurance cover this?
Ah, yes. Okay, what
Am I
else?
gonna get a human when you transfer me?
Okay, we'll actually get to talk to someone. Talk to a person. Or a bot, now is the big term. Okay, what else?
How much is this gonna cost?
Oh, yeah. And let's have one more concern.
How to relieve their pain.
Okay, pain. So, when you think about being a good influence, what are some ways that you could communicate your concern? Through words, tone of voice, and body language.
using aided on the wait time.
Absolutely. Who knows what AIDIT stands for?
Acknowledge, introduce, duration, explanation, thanks.
Awesome, great.
She gets a coaster.
I know, I already got close. Yeah, that's right. Okay, what else? What else could we use to communicate concern?
I know at the clinic, if it's gonna be a longer wait time, we always either let them know or bring them water and let them know that they are still going to be seen
Yep.
when it's been 30 minutes.
If I say manage the wait experience, That would include everything from checking in on them, offering them, like you said, water.
Well, that's like on my surgery days, I just go around the room and just reiterate as soon as they can. There's two ahead of you still, which sounds like they're in line, but they really are, and that's all they care about is
Check in on them,
right.
okay? Let's have one more way that you can,
Direct them to either the billing department or somebody that can help them.
yeah,
Because most of
You're
us don't
the
know
one.
about the cost.
okay.
Is the
So direct them,
Acknowledge, introduce, duration, explanation, thanks. So each person, when, if we started this acknowledging, hi, my name is Tina, I will be registering you, it'll take 4 to 5 minutes.
duration.
And then thanks for coming, is there anything else I can do for you?
I have the time.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how might your patients benefit when their emotional needs, because when you look at these are all relating to fear. It's a very fearful experience. How might their emotional needs be attended to along with purely their medical?
They improve for sure.
They improve their what?
They improve.
They improve, they get better. Okay, what else?
They don't seem so stressed if you are able to take care of them, let them know what's going on. It doesn't stress them out as much.
As much. Same too up front. You maybe had some fear of leaving your belongings with me, and I'm hoping we've got a nice, soft, comfortable pillow for them to be on, that you're feeling a little more comfortable.
What I like about our clinics, they meet our medical needs. I unfortunately am not a patient of our clinics, but my family is, and what I love about is their medical needs are met so well that emotionally they're okay to call the clinic.
They feel that's
It's
safe.
not like I have to take them to the doctor,
Okay.
or my husband, I have to go see the doctor. It's more like, hey, how about I start with my doctor and go from there. That's what I love, is that their emotional needs have pretty much been met. as
Great,
they
so there's
come.
trust.
Yeah, trust is
Trust.
trust.
And again, jot these down on your worksheet so you got them. Let's have one more. One more
Reassurance.
way. Reassurance. Reassurance. That even if I had a question after I got home, I could call back and ask for questions. So are you ready to walk a mile in your patient's shoes? How many of you have ever been a patient before? Yeah, you know firsthand some of the things you have to go through, starting with rearranging your schedule. You know, it's an inconvenience. You gotta make the time. You gotta schedule. You gotta block off whatever it is that you need to do to come. So I'm gonna have you do an exercise, something that you have probably done hundreds if not thousands of times. So you need a place on your, actually let's have you put it on your name tent. On the underneath your name, on your name tent, I would like for you to sign your name. However, I want you to put the pen in the other hand.
Do you want my given name or this?
Whatever name you want to put. I want you to sign it.
for how long?
Yeah, I
I think I've done this before, because I'm pretty roundy.
So good.
Amanda's easy, because it's got a lot of
It's a lot of, yeah, yep. What's taking you so long?
Wow, I should know.
Is that
I
what
had to learn to write that less
Right,
than
right,
earlier.
All right.
Yeah.
I look like a little kid.
Are we supposed to sign
How about you?
Sign it.
Sign it like our.
Sign it, your signature. As you sign a check, as you sign a legal document.
I really had to learn.
Expensive.
Mine looks like I scratched it out. Almost.
Yeah.
Like I was like.
All right, was that easy to do?
No, I had to concentrate to get this right.
Okay, so how is that experience like what maybe a patient has to go through? When they have to learn to change their diet, when they have to learn how to move differently because they've had a procedure. Might they get a little bit frustrated like you are? Might they get a little bit owly? So we need to realize that they're in an awkward situation. They once were able to button up and get dressed on their own. They once were able to eat whatever they wanted to eat, and now they can't. So we need to make sure we don't take whatever they might say to us personally. Just like you just went through a very difficult, stressful time. All right, so on page 12, I I wanna give you the updated version, I believe, of your, well, I don't know if your mission has changed, so let's say it together. Can anyone do it from memory?
The new mission? Oh,
No, the mission, why we're here. Partnering with our community for quality, health, and healing. What does that mean? Partnering, that's the big word. What does that mean?
Working together.
Okay,
Working together and make sure everybody's taken care of.
yeah. Internally, and it also implies externally. Who do you work with externally?
Patients?
Patients,
Vendors.
vendors, absolutely. The vision statement, same as what we talked about earlier. Circle those words that stand out to you. The whole notion of being the provider and employer of choice. When they say region, where would that be? What's your region?
Pretty much Sycamore Basin, but
Okay,
goes south too because Riverton isn't technically part of the basin.
okay. And what does the term teaching hospital mean? What would be an example of how you would be a teaching hospital?
Well, we're partnering with the nursing school in Riverton.
Oh, okay.
Is how I.
Creating
Okay.
an environment where people can learn and grow together in both directions.
And are you thinking of from a patient or caregiver perspective, or both?
Both.
Both, cool. Do you guys have shields out here?
Buildings.
Billings, okay. Their mantra is that you are smarter when you shop at Shields, because they have experts in the area, whether it's hunting, golfing, pickleball, because they want to teach you. I was looking for a Garmin, I haven't gotten it yet, but I went there and they helped me understand about that particular device. Same too in healthcare. Healthcare is a very intimidating industry and experience, because there's a lot of terminology, there's a lot of procedures that, if we could, we would do it ourselves, but we can't. So we want to teach not only our residents, our patients to be smarter. You also have some core values. And what I like about each of these, it describes in parentheses what it's created for. Like the mission says why we're here, the vision, where we're going. The definition of our core values is what?
How we act.
How we act. 5 core values form the foundation of our culture. In other words, this is what you sign up for. This is what's expected of you when you come to work. Ownership, always better than yesterday. This is your oasis, isn't it?
Yes.
There it is. Cool. Okay. So we're going to have you do an exercise. On the next page, I'm going to have you think about what you do and how you can communicate using your values in action. So I'd like for you, for each of the 5 areas, write down 1 to do and 1 not to do. And if you need to go back and look at the definitions, you can do so. But write down 1 for each. What does that look like? What does that sound like in your jobs?
Well, it's some kind of concept, like ownership. Are you gonna do it right, wrong? Yeah, the
Or
first
if you
time,
make
or
a
do-
mistake,
yeah.
how do you react?
Obviously, taboos are things not to do. Leave a job unfinished.
Is it effectively or effectively?
Give you a couple more minutes for each of the values, a to-do, and a taboo.
I'm having a hard time with the taboo.
Just doing the opposite of what I do, basically. Like, this other source, creating a legacy of experience, treating patients bad. That would be really bad.
And it doesn't really matter where it fits in. The values are a great guideline of all the different behaviors. So what I'd like us to do is to create a flip chart of to-dos and taboos. Let's just start off with the to-dos and then we'll go into the taboos. What would you like, or what do you do in your day here at work? What do you want?
Do the right thing when nobody's watching.
Do the right thing.
Or integrity.
Yeah. Even if it's not the easiest. Okay, what else?
Pass up when you make a mistake,
There you go.
because we're all human, we
Yeah.
all do it.
I think for me, Kim will tell you, as she works closest with me, every day I have to own my attitude, and sometimes I secretly tell them I'm in the worst mood ever, but a patient wouldn't know that.
Okay. Own my attitude and put on a good front, be positive in front of the patients.
And after a patient or two, I'm sucked into the environment, so I really do have a better day, but
Good.
I just have to own it.
Own it, okay? Thank you. What else?
Managing up.
Tell us what that means.
Like if you were to go into a different area, say somebody for radiology. So Elle will be with you in a few moments. She is the great receptionist. She'll take care of you and give you your paperwork filled out.
So you-
Or,
Brag.
you know,
Yep.
in radiology, you know, anybody in radiology, cardio, anywhere. You
It
manage
shows.
up, you show them, these are the best people that you can take care of you.
Great.
You know.
I mean, good hands.
Yes.
Thank you. What else?
Encourage your coworkers.
Great. Encourage others. What else on that list? And you can go through your whole list of all the different values.
I don't know, you take responsibility for your actions
Okay.
and choices.
Yep. Kind of like that accountability, take responsibility.
Same thing, lead by example, just,
Yeah, be the example.
Make people smile.
There you go. And here's what I'm gonna have you do. I'm gonna have you collect smiles. How do you collect smiles? Yeah, it's easy. All you have to do is give him one and he'll get one back. Couple more.
Talk positively about your coworkers and work environment.
What's that?
Talk positively about your coworkers and work environment.
Great. Okay, we're gonna take a pause now. He's gonna change the,
Your patients feel like they're the most important, not necessarily all the paperwork.
yeah,
Even though that's important, you kind of.
it's the person, how they're feeling. Okay. Well, let's capture that one. It's the person, not the patient. Be personable. Now let's move into the taboos. And again, in any of the categories, what don't you want to have happen at work?
Blaming others.
All right.
Ignoring patients
Okay.
or coworkers.
Yeah.
You can-
I'm just here for the paycheck.
Being a
Okay.
whiner.
Yeah, you just basically, you go through the motions.
Being that whiner.
Oh, yeah.
joining those slugs with the bad nothing.
Yeah, the whiners or slugs who work harder at getting out of the work than if they just did the work.
Don't talk down to people.
Okay.
Staying stagnant
What do you mean by that?
by like, I guess it's just kind of like, you just not wanting to do better, you know, you're just.
Okay, so taboo would be not growing, not learning, let's say not learning.
When we did orientation, there was like
Okay.
I think
not caring how
what kind of
your actions affect
Oh, yeah,
others.
Okay. So you are unaware. Aware. Couple more.
Working alone, not being a team member.
Okay. So taboo would be a working alone, working without your team.
Yeah.
And one more inappropriate action or behavior.
Grinners is what I was thinking, deceived performers.
Would be being angry. Your
Angry or-
emotions.
Angry, negative, or bitter?
Yeah.
Angry,
Bitter's
a good one. Bitter,
There's lots of bitterness.
I was that person a couple years ago.
the ABCs, how about that? The angry, bitter, and critical. Okay. How many of you know any of these folks? I don't need names.
Well, like I told them, I was that person, and it's just as bad for them as it is for the people you give it
It
to.
does, it does. So we're gonna give you a coaching model that you can use when dealing with this kind of behavior. So on page 14 is a model to help hold people accountable. Like I mentioned, this is the year of accountability. It's a term that we call balanced coaching. Giving feedback is intended to be non-threatening, recognizing, though challenging, a person could do better. Unless anybody is perfect, we all could improve, right? So just to give everybody a perspective, turn to the person to your left and right and say, you're not perfect, but you got potential.
Got potential, ladies.
You're not perfect, but yeah, not potential.
A lot of potential.
I'm not full of potential.
The climb.
You might not make it.
I appreciate it.
Steph, you're almost.
Miley Cyrus.
All right, so here's how this coaching sounds. You start off with their name. Why? Why do we say their name to begin with?
You have
So
knowledge.
they know they're in trouble.
Yes. Well, we don't want them to
Start
think
with
they're
their
in
full
trouble. Well, it's supposed to be non-threatening. So it's intended to say, you know, Tina, I'm talking to you. You want to describe a strength. You know, you are really good at being aware of the surroundings and what's needed or what's necessary, okay? Now what you want to do is you want to transition into something that you want them to improve or do differently and not using the but bomb. Okay, if I were to say you're doing a really good job here, but you're doing a lousy job there, what did the but bomb do?
Really
It exploded.
Exactly, okay? So you want to suggest an improvement and its value. So Tina, may I suggest that you teach others some of your tricks of the trade, like you just did with Aid It, okay? So that way then it's a way that they understand the value, but there's also something that they could do. So let's hear how more of these sound. Let's have a volunteer read how we could coach Steve. Well, let's have Steve read that. Okay.
You want me to read that?
Yes.
Alright. Steve, thank you for your support as a Service Excellence Advisor. This is important because it helps me fulfill my responsibilities. May I suggest you let me know of any scheduling conflicts that impact you or your department,
Great.
or our department, sorry.
Yeah, so acknowledge the person, what they're doing well and why it's important, and then a suggestion. And notice that it ends with a question mark. So you're asking. You know, you're not telling, you're asking, and that's a non-threatening approach. Let's have someone, do we have a Kim here?
No.
We do, yes we do, my God.
And it is
Kim.
so calling me out.
I was gonna say that, I wanted to make eye contact with you.
Let's have Kim.
Okay, Kim, you are very calming with patients and their families. This is important for them to trust you and feel comfortable under your care. May I suggest you show your coworkers the same degree of patience and compassion? Heard,
You've
okay?
grown, you've grown.
I have grown a lot.
All right, so again, great with the patients, not a team player. And then let's have somebody coach Chris. Do we have a Chris here?
Well,
Well, we have a Christine, yes. So Christine, would you read about Chris?
Chris, you are so gifted with creativity. This is important when you are problem solving. May I suggest you share and support other coworkers' creative problems solving during our Do It meetings?
Okay, very good. So now I'm gonna have you write your own. I'd like for you to think about maybe somebody who's
Last time I
doing
did this,
these
the
things
person
listed
who
here that you would like to confront. It could be a coworker, could be a boss. It's basically an opportunity for you to practice offering a suggestion. So using the green space provided, jot down something that you could use, indicate what they're doing well, and then may I suggest what you'd like them to do differently.
you cannot use reason. I'm going to, okay.
You can even try this out with a teenager.
And to despair.
I don't have any anymore.
Woohoo!
Me either.
Dig into that.
And just simply by writing things out helps you make better selections of words. Because sometimes we don't think before we speak. All right, so I'm gonna have you practice by turning to your buddy, and instead of using the person's name that you wrote, I want you to use their name. I want you to use your buddy's name, so it can really truly be a coaching.
I'm not perfect.
What's that?
What I wrote, I don't, it wouldn't, it,
Don't feel comfortable?
no.
I'll read it to the group.
All right, let me have you just go to your table. If you don't want to do it as a buddy, do it as a table. Tina.
You're going with your buddy?
I don't know.
I was just using your name. Thank you for your hard work and advice. You demonstrate providing great quality care. This is important as we adjust your financial situations and coworkers know you're ready. May I suggest that you acknowledge and take attention to staff also trying to make part of your individual lives.
Oh, I just said,
Oh, she's
just passing out some.
I was just saying there.
I think you should. Well, now I've got to prepare the words, but that's not like what.
Taking the context, I mean, I can read, got some.
There's Amanda. I don't think of that.
I addressed the one issue, so I did not finish it because my brain just went, no. Amanda, I appreciate how you're effective on posting payments. May I suggest you continue this and refrain from touching claims, therefore, if you have issues, let someone know. And
Maybe as you, when it comes to claims, if you will contact that individual and allow them to make those changes so they also grow during their work day.
My brain went, I addressed this once and I actually got a compliment saying it was done correctly. Very just, short and sweet.
Instead of
All right.
my claims.
Thank you for writing and practicing that. What's the value of using this coaching tool? Coaching conversation.
Because you're using like a form of positive reinforcement that doesn't make people feel like they're getting blamed for anything while they can still take responsibility for like making an improvement.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like what we're doing with this workshop. We're building from what we learned. We're just taking it up a notch. You're doing a good job here. Could you also do it here? Do this here. So it's just a building, not tearing down. I think so much of what we do when we complain and criticize is cut people down. This is a building up. All right, then the last dimension we're going to cover on page 15, starting on page 15, is our cycle of service for do-its. Listed there on page 15 are some of the do-it projects that have happened. So does anyone want to talk about their particular department's do-it project?
I have one that's not listed.
Okay, tell us about it. What department?
OB,
OB, okay.
so it's not on the list.
Oh, we need to add. Are you guys on here at all?
No.
Okay, so tell us about it.
So currently all OB nurses do lactation consulting. We need to, that's part of our job. But if we get a license to do it, then we can make the hospital over $450,000 extra a year.
Wow.
By doing something we're already doing. So
What does that mean? What are you guys gonna do?
So it's gonna cost $15,000 for us to get all the OB nurses to get licensed in lactation consulting. And then the doctors just have to put an order for it, and insurance has to pay for it with the CARES Act. So basically, it'll just be another code that's tacked onto their bill. And so if we would have done it last year, we would have made like $430,000.
Wow. That's huge. So is it schooling then that you have to all?
It's just an online class and we test.
Nice. So, great idea, thank you. And Lacey, can we add that? I mean, that's pretty remarkable. Plus, we need to list that, add that. Any others? Any other good project?
I think somebody said like $8,000.
I think it's more than that.
What's that?
15. Nothing, we're just Consulting.
Consulting, okay, we thought you were talking about a do it project. Nope. All right, so again, the idea is that these, sometimes perceived as small can really make a big impact. Why are we doing do-its? So on page 16, do-it stands for what?
Departmentally organized improvement.
You got it. We view this as the best shot at engaging employees to have a voice in becoming the provider and employer of choice. It speaks to the heart of our Service Excellence Initiative. So again, if you've got people that are complainers, here's what I'd like you to do and say, you know what? Let's talk about that at the next do-it meeting. Do you have it a part of your, whether it's a part of your huddles or a do-it meeting or a department meeting?
I think you have to be careful with like the kind of relationship you have with these complainers, because some of them are just needing like consoling, and like maybe they're upset about something that somebody said or did. It doesn't always have to be brought to attention. Maybe
Okay.
they just needed to vent or
Okay.
talk about it with somebody else.
So if, in that case, that they're just reaching out for condolences,
Right,
you know,
Yeah.
just don't let them belabor it. You
right,
know, kind of a gomo, get over it, move on.
yeah.
You know, don't carry that baggage forever. Kind of like when you say, you know, I'm in a bad foul mood, I just need to get this off my chest. Okay, good, it's out there, I'm moving on.
Right.
We need every department to consistently listen to their patients, their caregivers, whoever's, you know, they're serving. Prioritize the problems that need to be urgently fixed, take responsibility and create a plan to resolve it, and make sure it works. There are 8 different expectations. Eliminating any current problem that comes up to your attention. Do you guys refer to your patients as residents? You know, we need to modify that. What's that? This should be caregiver, right?
Like a nursing home, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on there on ours.
I know, but it's
Okay.
not in the PowerPoint, it was wrong.
Yeah, okay.
All right, involve everyone in having a voice and giving an update on progress. Ensure that what's being taught in these workshops are being used. This is gonna be one of the assignments. And roll out any part of the Oasis in Action Teams project. Improve communication, you know, like you said, every relationship could be improved with better communication. And I'm not necessarily saying, you know, from Stephen's example, more communication is better communication. It needs to be appropriate, it needs to be efficient, it needs to be intentional. I'm big in the word intentional. Document and track, because in healthcare, it didn't happen if it didn't get documented. So you gotta have proof that you identified it. 7 is to report the do-it projects to other departments, because then you are aware and maybe even do other things that they are. And then build greater teamwork and have some fun along the way. So if you were to think about the whys, which 2 of those goals for do-its need to be emphasized in your area? Circle the 2 that you think your area could benefit from.
What if you have more than 2?
Which would be the most timely? What would make the biggest impact? And tell me what those are. Give me one, and you can just read the number.
5.
Number 5.
I said 5.
Communication, yeah, I think everybody could benefit from number 5.
Number 8.
Okay, good. You can't do it alone, you gotta work together. And let's have one more. And the others, 2, 5, and 8. 2, involving everybody. Good, giving people a voice, and they feel empowered. So since one of the expectations is to document it, on page 17, how many of you have seen this before? Show of hands. How many have used this before? Okay, awesome. So I'm not gonna belabor it, but like we talked about the why, it's our form of documentation. Where do you find and get this form? Shelley?
It's on SharePoint.
It's on SharePoint? Okay, where else?
Under the common, under the mission initiative, and then there's a folder that says do it, and then there's multiple different all the same, but there's like an Excel one, there's a Word one. I think there even might be a PDF version, but they're all under there.
Okay.
Oh, and you can also see what other people are working on. It has all the departments listed out, so you can click in.
If you would email me a screenshot of that,
Yeah?
that might be good to show them so they could see that this would be a place to go out and not only upload their completed projects, but what others are doing.
No problem.
Okay. So, a couple things to know about this document. There are, and it's hard to see because it's washed out by the screen, but on your handout, do you see that there are some that are colored? Those are for those that are quick wins. We call them 1% wins. So let's just say that, I'm just talking about a space. Who doesn't have some clutter in their area? You know, you've got a closet that's outdated, it's got outdated stuff, and it needs to be spring cleaned, okay? That would be an example of a 1%. Because you go in, you fill out the 1%, what the shaded areas are, where's the problem, or what is the problem? It's cluttered, it's outdated, it's inefficient. What are you trying to accomplish? You know, better organization. So you just fill out the shaded area. Do you guys understand that? Okay. Whereas the other ones that are a little more in depth, you use your plan, do, study, act. How many of you are familiar with PDSA? What does PDSA do? What are the steps of PDSA?
Gives you a structure.
It does. And what I think this does, it tells a story. What did you set out to accomplish? What did you accomplish? Did you resolve the problem? You go back and study and say, or did you make something worse? You know, how many of you have had that happen? You may have made something better, but something else suffered. And then, as a result of your studying, do you need to make modification? So that's the act. And so it just really does a good job of studying. All right. So, again, the idea is that this is what documents your monthly projects. I want to teach you this year how to use a new tool that I think is really exciting because it takes a look at your process. On page 18 are some terms. Moment of truth, cycle of service, and reward strategy. The first term is a moment of truth. A moment of truth is any time a patient comes in contact with you and formulates an impression. It could be good, bad, or otherwise. This little guy was an example of a moment of truth for me. Okay, this little handwritten note. Okay, it was a wow for me. Moments of truth can be given in 3 different ways, and you can jot this down on your worksheet. It's the 3 Ps. It could be in person, so when they see you, it could be what you say, what you do. It could be in print, in other words. It could be a handwritten note, it could be a letter, it could be a document that they take with them, it could be a bill, or it could be by a phone. I know it doesn't sound like it starts with P, but it actually does. So how many of you spend time in your day on the phone? Okay, those are moments of truth. Okay? And in those moments of truth, you will have an opportunity to make a positive or a negative experience. All of which is called the cycle of service. And we're going to talk through this. So what you want to do is come up with, for each moment of truth, the very best possible experience. Through your words, tone of voice, body language, or what you're giving them. So for instance, let's do a grocery store example. What's your local store? Market?
Max Market.
Max
Market.
Market. Okay, you're at Max Market, or you're at Walmart, wherever you feel you have positive experiences. You first of all leave the room. Okay, Walmart. Okay, again, it could be depending on the day, depending on if they're not consistent. That's what happens. So you leave the road, you enter the parking lot, you're looking for your space. You're reading the signs, oh, I can't park there, that's given to the employees of the month. This one's for handicap. You enter the store, you rate the experience, which could be everything from what you smell, from what you hear, what you read. Then I should tell you this, you're gonna get to know me. I went to the casino last night, Wind River, and I wanted to know how to get a player's card, because as I was walking in, it said you could get free rewards as a club member. So I couldn't tell where the players club was. So there was a customer service and then there's a cashier. So I asked, so that was kind of not real clear in their signage. So signage is important. You get a cart, I did very well, by the way. I knew when to leave. Isn't that the key if you've ever gone to the casino? When to leave. You get a cart, you go through, you get your groceries, you get ready to check out, you ask somebody for help. All of those is the cycle of service. At the bottom, these are some examples of moments of truth. So, you enter the parking lot. What's important in the parking lot?
Cleanliness.
Cleanliness. Are there carts, scattered that you can't even park? At night, what's important to you?
Lights.
Lights. Okay. You enter the store. Is it clean? Does it smell good? Rate appearance. Has anybody ever worked at a grocery store?
Yes.
Do you know what it means to face?
Pull everything forward.
Yes, you don't want to pull back way in there. I took a bottle of wine to Scott's, and I didn't have to reach all the way in. It was actually at the edge of the counter shelf. Ask the clerk for help. How do you know when you're at a grocery store who's the employees?
Uniform.
Yeah, typically they have a certain uniform. At work, what's your indication to patients? Your badge, okay? So again, that's an indication, it's a moment of truth. You have signage. I'm huge in signage. Nothing worse than going somewhere and you don't know where to go for certain things. I had even an Oasis team work on signage in the hospital because it's intimidating, it's overwhelming. When you checked out, in fact, I've had this recently. Sometimes I wish I had a little hidden camera on my shoulder, because I was at a coffee shop in the Des Moines airport as I was leaving on this trip down there, and the employees were just talking to themselves. I'm like, sorry to interrupt you guys, but could somebody check me out? And it's amazing how sometimes they're unaware of the customer. And then as you exit the store, one of the things I recognize is when anyone just thanks me for coming. It doesn't even have to be somebody who helped me, but as they're leaving the store, the restaurant, wherever, they thank you for coming. Thank you for choosing our establishment. So we're going to try this out on the next page. We're going to practice coming to your emergency room. Let's do a simulation. All right, you have a child. Let's say it's a teenager. Let's see. All right, you have an emergency. You are coming to the first time.
I hate our signs for that.
Okay, well, that's what this might be pointing out.
There's one more slash.
All right, these represent the moments of truth, okay? On the line, I'm gonna write down the reward strategy. What should we or what do we have? So, let's start off with, you leave the road. What's the road?
Arapahoe Street.
What is it?
Arapahoe.
All right, I'm just gonna say street.
I wanted to wait and see
Leave
that.
the A street, how's that? Okay, so when you leave the street, what's the first question that you wonder?
Where's the entrance?
Yeah, where's the entrance? Okay, so do we have signage?
It's a confusing signage, but yeah.
Okay, all right, maybe it needs to be better. All
I
right,
guess
so
the
you found a
original
place to park. I guess the place is to park, right?
Yeah.
Parking, is there special parking? Or could I even do valet? Do you have valet?
No.
Okay, do you have a wheelchair? Do you have a coverage? Okay, wheelchair. And today, because it was raining, is it covered?
Yes.
You do have that, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. Next moment of truth. You come inside. Where do you want to go?
If you can make it inside with the doors.
Oh.
So our doors are not unlocked, ever. You have to push the button and then it opens the door. And then it just unlocks the door usually, it doesn't open the door.
So you're saying doors might be a moment of truth?
Yeah,
Start
they're
off-
supposed to be
oh,
on
that's
the
a
doors, but
huge-
have a handicap button.
a huge moment of truth.
So then it's not automatic.
And then that depends on the type of house, because then you gotta ring the doorbell, that's on.
The very first doors are
Wow.
automatic, but not the second doors.
So automatic, and you have to push a button.
Depends on
So
the
you have to
doors.
turn around 180 degrees, walk the other way,
Well, no, that's only at night.
Yeah.
Don't
Push
you
the
dare
button.
ring my doorbell during the day.
and then the ER nurse has to come
No,
all the way
no,
out
no,
and get
don't you even ring my doorbell
And
during
then
the
go
day.
into the.
You can push the handicap button and come on in.
Okay, so there is a button.
Doorbell to get them back there,
Yes.
so.
Okay, so as they
You
come
still gotta ring
in,
the
what's the
doorbell.
next moment of truth?
Ringing a
You
doorbell.
have to figure out where the doorbell is.
So they have to ring a doorbell?
Yeah.
Let's,
Yes.
Well,
How do I know where that
the
is?
next
How do I know
moment
that?
of truth is ER or outpatient, that's the next question.
yeah,
Where am I going?
That's a good point.
True.
but they're going to the ER.
If they're going
If they're going to the
Oh, we're
ER,
only doing the ER, I thought we were
Yeah,
doing
we're
the
doing ER,
entrance.
we're
Oh,
doing
okay.
an ER, we have an
Yeah, we're
emergency,
maybe
we have an
in the
emergency. All right,
Gotta
I
find the
finally get in, what am I doing? What
So
am I
now
doing?
you gotta find the button, and many
There's
people
3 or
cannot
4 of
find the
them
button.
right there.
Yeah, there's signs and there's 2 buttons.
How do I know that, how do I know I need to push a button?
There's also a
It
reason
says,
to
it says that it's also confusing, because people stand there and
There's like 4 different
look at
houses.
it.
There's like 5 signs.
So signage may be an issue, okay?
It's right back from.
What does this, what is the, why do I need to push the button?
Cause the doors are locked.
Yeah, the doors
I thought
are
we'd
locked.
already gotten in. We're in.
Yeah.
well, that's the lobby.
Without the ER.
You're in the building, the ER is
So
locked.
our registration does not register outside of the ER. We register you once you're in the locked ER unit.
Yeah, our ER is locked.
So to let us know that there's someone that needs to go
So
to the
between
ER.
this door, I'm looking for ER, right?
And then you have to go in another button door. to
So
get
you just
into the
hope that
ER.
Amanda's there to help you. If not, then you're looking around going,
And then, but Charity's on the other side, like watching you walk around the lobby.
Through the
So come
camera.
out.
Okay, okay.
help you.
Yeah, this is a biggie here. Okay, we're gonna do some other things. Okay, all right. So we got the ER, we found the ER button. What happens when I push it?
Then
Go
I
in.
come answer your door and
Okay.
ask you what's going on.
So you answer it or you come to the door?
You come to the door.
I
You actually physically come.
I physically come to the
All right,
door.
and what is your role, or what is it called?
I'm an ER tech,
Tech, okay,
or the ER nurse is there.
okay, so someone comes, so the nurse.
Somebody.
Or tech. Tech greets you, right? Okay. And what is the moment of truth? What are the reward strategies? What are you doing during that time?
The
Then,
patient get put into a room.
But what do you,
Well,
at this
she's
moment, what do you,
determining
what are you asking?
why they're
You're
there.
asking them
you're
questions,
asking why they're there,
Okay.
you're finding out,
you kind of do an assessment.
yes.
Okay,
With their life threatening.
Yeah, you're really triaging.
treat, very good, that's what I was thinking you'd say. Assessing and your triage. Okay, and jot these down in your worksheet, by the way, you're gonna need these. Okay, so once you've done that, then what happens?
Then you're placed into a room.
All right, you are moved to a room.
If you don't have your phone, it's gonna get it.
When you are in the room, what is waiting for me in the room? What do I see in the room?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Am I laying down? Am I,
Yeah, I get you comfortable in the bed.
okay, so how do you get me comfortable?
Hook you up to vitals.
So like, I'm gonna pull up the bed, I'm gonna get you, seated in the bed.
Bed,
um,
situated.
Hook you up to the vital machines, start getting your name and that information so I can go register you.
Okay, so part of the registry. Is that part of the vitals, registering?
You kind of do them all the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all kind of at the same time.
Okay. All right, so once that's happened, then what happens? Might I be waiting?
Yep, now you're gonna be waiting.
Okay.
And I like cover you up with like a blanket.
Okay, that's always nice.
Yes, I give you the warm blanket.
Warm blankets are the best.
That's why you go to the ER.
What happens, what else happens when I'm waiting?
That's usually.
Do I know how long I might be waiting?
So, yes. Hey, you're not over there. So I'll go over, my nurse, a lot of times will start their triage during the time that I am registering them,
Okay.
getting them on the computer. So the nurse is also going in asking deeper questions. There's really never, during this time, you're never just in there by yourself.
Okay, so nurse is doing some questions. Okay. Oops.
And and then you're brought in like the paperwork.
Or what if I'm not in a condition to do my paperwork?
Then I wait,
Okay.
until you are, or until
Or
a
if I-
family member
If my
comes.
child is ill, I can do it for my child.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And let's do one more. After the wait, what would be the next moment of truth? Treatment?
Doctor comes and
The
Doctor
doctor?
comes in.
Okay,
And then we start our treatment stuff.
okay. So during the doctor's visit, one of the things I wanna know is, do I have to go through this all that I've told you again? Or will the doctor be confirming?
sometimes.
He's mainly confirming, but he wants the same questions as well.
Okay. And I think it's important that they even say that, because it irritates me. I just spent the last 15 minutes going through this, and I thought the nurse took it down. Did she not, or he not?
And we have a little jokes that we can, like, I've noticed all the ER nurses have them, and like I have them, you know, like, especially like on the paperwork, I'll bring it in, okay, now time for the torture part, you know, and I'm like, but I'll make it as easy as I can, and
The
show
paperwork being
them.
the torturing part?
Yes,
Okay.
and then like, the nurses will say, now I know this is gonna get old, but you're gonna have to tell it to several people.
Okay, so
but-
it will be a reassessment. Okay. I may ask the same questions, just wanna make sure we're all on the same page. All right, so we can go on, but get the idea of this? Wonderful tool that you now can use. So what would be the value, and you can write this down in your worksheet, what would be the value of conducting a cycle of service in your area?
Seeing where you have deficiencies and where you need improvement.
Well, yeah,
Like the door.
assessing
so
where you can get
If we were
better.
to look at this, where's our hot spots? Where are we not?
All of the doors.
Signage.
So the doors,
Signage.
the signage,
Yeah, cause I have like people that can barely walk and they're
okay,
four doors down. By the time they get to me, I've already lost them, I've gotta get them back.
okay. It'll be a signage project. Okay, good. What other benefits to using the cycle of service? What did it do for all of you?
Orientation.
What do you mean by that?
So like cycle of service would be, like if somebody was new or just learning,
Okay,
then they know what all needs to happen
Okay.
for somebody to get into a room and get into the building.
so you're like a teaching is what you're saying. It
Yeah.
could be a good teaching
Yeah.
tool. I hadn't thought about that.
Well, you could see whose experiences are different than what.
If it's consistent, you could check on, write all these down for your worksheet. These are good good answers.
Seeing where we are deficient,
Yeah.
saying, okay, so you're getting to the bed, you're asking the same questions twice,
Right.
you know?
And that's why I wrote down reassessment. So we need to realize that some of these are same, so from a customer perspective, they need to know, yeah, I'm asking the same questions, but it's for a reason.
And even
Why?
if they come in by ambulance, you know, the ambulances ask the same questions.
questions.
And we're gonna ask the same, but I will also say this, to me, it's very important that the same questions be asked, because as it goes on, like the ambulance, you're gonna get them, so I've been on the ambulance as well. You're gonna get them right as adrenaline's pumping. They're not gonna remember it.
Okay,
Then the ER tech may get them, they're gonna start remembering some, then the nurse is gonna get them,
Okay.
they're remembering more, and then by the doctor, and sometimes the whole story has changed by the time they get it to the
Mm.
doctor.
Usually.
do you ever explain the why? Do you ever explain, you might be asking the same questions, because I think that would be important to make sure that you're working as a team.
Right,
Wow.
it's just, I don't believe that that would be inefficiency, just because I've heard the story
Yeah.
change so many times in the different areas.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so here's what we'd like. We'd like you to take this tool back to your area and document it. At the moment of truth, there are reasons or results. So take this back and use that in your next do it. You may not be able to do it in the huddle because it's a little bit more time sensitive, but I think you'll really enjoy it. You mentioned as one of the to-dos, if you fess up, you need to dress up. If we mess up, we need to fess up and dress up, right? And you do that by using your service recovery policy. How many of you have ever used your service recovery policy? Great. On page 20, we again just want to make sure everybody is aware of the policy. Using the CARE procedure, what does C stand for? Yes, actively listen to what's wrong. A stands for?
Knowledge and apologize.
And And what's the 3 magic words to apologize?
I'm sorry.
I am sorry. Hearing those words will quickly de-escalate a frustrated patient or family member. R is?
Resolve.
Yep, fix it, do what you can. If you can't, find somebody who can. And E is?
Express.
Thank you.
Why would you want to thank somebody for giving you a complaint?
So that you learn where to do better.
Exactly. I think a complaint is really a disguised compliment. They came to you because they hope you could fix it. If they don't, you can't make it better. On the bottom of this page, you'll see where the care tools are. How many of you have seen the care tools that we're talking about? And again, I don't know if we want to put that in your toolbox, Lacey, for the SEAs to show, but
This is in there.
what's that?
This is in their toolbox.
This, but is the toolbox something? Is it a,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a box.
We used it in the workshop.
you use it in the workshop, so you might again have that for the workshop.
Yeah.
So you can indicate where the closest location is for you, and what's contained on page 21. Bill vouchers, cards, gas cards, apology cards. And then, there were 14 events filed in Clarity. What does that mean?
That's our event reporting tool.
Okay,
It's a Clarity event, so whether it be a complaint,
Compliment,
Com-
situation.
yeah.
oh, okay. So it's a feedback tool, a feedback,
That's how we report.
positive and
So-
negative,
Uh-huh, but it's also if there's an incident
okay?
with a patient, something's gone wrong, that is how we document.
Safety, patient So I safety. also think that needs updated. We have quite a few that need picked up from ours. So I think we have like 5 or 6 on our worksheet alone from May.
So this is just like the ones that are reported through the Clarity event,
Okay.
I think. Yeah, there's
The
also
service
ones-
recovery tools, not
Yeah.
the.
Well, I thought everything had to be on there.
Well, it should be.
Okay.
If you feel that there's, put that on your admin piece. We have who's the service recovery champion? Oh, Go Fish, who could tell us that?
That'd be, Nina is the one that does the stuff for
It
events
is
and stuff.
Nina.
No, okay,
Mm-hmm.
yep. Yeah, so if you feel like there's been more than 14 uses of the service recovery,
I just think
That's-
that maybe it needs to explain again that we need to do the Clarity events for every one of them.
okay?
So I think we've done more things that we didn't report on the event thing, what you're saying.
So we've gone around to, I think, all of the departments but yours. I still have to hit yours to just do a re-education on it. So I think we've gotten everybody's but the business office. So you're on my to-do list.
Okay. So there may be some areas that aren't reflected in that 14? Is that what you're saying?
Probably.
Okay. Okay. All right. And then, on page 22 are some attachments. I won't go with, I believe, ambassadors, did you guys go through this last year?
Yes.
All right, so again, we just wanted to make sure that you had this. If not in the workbook, I got to thinking, where would they find the service recovery policy?
So those departments that are listed that have the toolkit, they also have the policy in there as
Policy
well.
itself.
Everything is in that toolkit
Okay,
and everybody should be able to have access to it.
okay. So if you don't have your own copy of this document, you do now. So there's several attachments, we just are giving you for reference. So depending on the level and appropriate, you'll use the appropriate recovery tool. You know, if it's low, an apology goes a long way. If it's medium, you might want to write a card. And then if it's a high, do the card, and maybe it's something that you get management involved or giving them a gift. Page 23 are some examples of common service recoveries. What would you say of those 14 incidences? What's been the most common complaint?
I I'd say in radiology, because something broke or the medicine didn't come, they have quite a few there where they have to reschedule.
So something with equipment,
Yeah.
and jot these down, it could be equipment issue, it could be a scheduling issue,
Wait
And-
times.
wait time is the number one.
OR, we have long wait times,
Okay. Okay, thank you.
visit certain providers.
Okay. All right, and then on page 24 is attachment B. Is this form actually in the service recovery toolkit?
Yes.
Yep,
And
okay.
everything.
And you fill that out for the incident?
Yes,
Are you saying that they also need to put it into,
Clarity.
That's what
Clarity.
I'm saying, is,
See,
yeah.
that's where I was like,
So
I only
this
got
one
high.
says high level only,
See,
but my understanding was I thought that they were
We
supposed
did
to be
change
done
it.
on everyone. Did it get changed?
We did change it,
Yeah.
it had to be for everyone. And even on this other page here, the first one on page 22, it says you have to complete a clarity report on both, so,
Okay, yeah, I'm okay.
so I knew that it changed.
so are we supposed to do it on low, medium, high?
All of them.
All of them, it's so you
Oh,
can,
what
it's
the
a
heck?
tracking.
That's why our numbers seem low, I think.
Yeah,
yeah,
because I always thought it was on high only.
right,
No.
so it's all in.
You were a miss at the time, so.
Yeah, okay, I blame the dog. Don't worry, I really did break my arm, I could show reports.
And then, this looks to be, the instructions on clarity.
Yes.
So submitting the event, and you're saying for any event,
Any of it.
Yep.
fill out the form as well. Okay. So any questions on the use of the service recovery?
I feel like it could,
What's the value of using the service recovery policy?
this is what happened.
What's the why?
Make, go ahead.
I would say for me, we all can imagine it was, most of mine have been scheduling with the surgeons and the wait time and not being able to see them after all, things like that. But it gave me something with this person I'm gonna interact with again. So I was able to apologize, give them their card. I was supposed to mail it my one big one, which was totally, I'm gonna take ownership of their 2-hour wait. I was able to hand her something, and the next time she came, she could have lunch on us. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Instead of putting it in the mail or waiting for
Yes.
someone else
Give
to
it to
fix it, I felt like that gave me
So-
something.
Yeah, a lot of those, I've given them their thing, and then I actually mail them the thank you card.
Thank you, okay,
And
give it to
they
them in
get that
person
later.
while they're there,
Yeah.
giving them kind of something to take back. It refills their emptiness, their frustration, and acknowledges the inconvenience. All right, well, we're almost finished. What we want to do next is a graduate review. We'll do this together. I will read the item and you tell me if it's true or false. If it's false, tell me why. Number 1, a moment of truth is any time a customer gets an impression of your service. Number 2, it would be valuable to develop a reward strategy for each moment. Number 3, patients don't like to be asked how they would describe their experience with us. In fact, having the words, how would you describe your experience is a great question for rounding. You know, how would you describe your experience in our ER? How would you describe, your meal? Number 4, an OASIS and action team works on improving our workplace culture. Number 5, each department needs to hold either service huddles or what?
True.
What's it supposed to be?
Once a week.
Hold either.
It is.
No, that's not quite right. I didn't, it's supposed to be hold either a service huddle or department meeting. That got left off. We'll change that one, at least once a month. It's false.
I
What's
thought
wrong
it was
with
once a
it?
week.
Because it needs to be once a week.
Yes, you need to do both. It's not an either or, so.
So department meeting is monthly, service huddles weekly.
At least. Number 6, a whiner is powerless because he or she blames others for their situation.
True.
Number 7, by growing our circle of influence, we can increase our capacity to help heal.
True.
Number 8, it is always better to expect the worst in order to prepare ourselves for the future.
Depends who you ask.
Number 9, the use of our service recovery policy will provide valuable feedback for department do-it-improvement projects. Yeah. Number 10, it is not unusual for our patients to perceive our service differently than we do. Number 11, in order to become a hospital of choice, we need to make our code of conduct values a part of our everyday life. Yes, more to-dos versus taboos. The use of balanced coaching is a threatening way for managers to confront employees, and it should not be used by employees. Why?
Because it's a non-threatening.
Yep. And who can use it?
Everybody.
Great. Number 13, the mission of the Service Excellence Council is to implement, monitor, and integrate the Service Excellence Initiative into our culture. And number 14, the new lead teams will be providing leadership, execution, accountability, and discipline to improve employee engagement. That's actually false.
Like, wait a minute.
It's what? What do they focus on?
The HCAPs, right, or
The patient experience.
patient experience, yeah.
Because it could be HCAPS or it could be also clinic.
Oh, true, they're their own
Yep.
surveys. I gotcha.
All right, congratulations. You have completed the course. Now all we need you to do is fill out the paperwork and you can get your item back. So if you would, take time now to finish the page 26, recording what you appreciate about working here at Hot Springs Health and what you would suggest or ask for patient and caregiver experience. Also, the evaluation form that tells us what you've learned. But before we officially wrap up, I thank all of you for your involvement in this first workshop. Did you enjoy yourself?
Yes.
Turn and say thanks to your teammates for all of their ideas, contributions. Let's thank Lacey because she provided a lot of the content for this.
Thank you, Lacey.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Service Excellence Workshop. Okay, so anybody know how to turn off the camera? Lacey, do you know how to turn this off? Big Bad Daddy?
Knock it over.
Knock it over. All right, it's flashing red.
Wow, probably dead. Sounds like.
Yeah, I don't want to delete whatever we did. Stop. Oh, here we go.
Imagine she